welcome to our first ever Women's Leadership Panel on Unity and Community. Hi, I'm Jennifer Daly, Mrs. Texas International, and I am so glad you've joined us because these amazing women and I are going to talk about some really important things that affect all of our communities. So let's meet these amazing women. Are you ready? We're going to do some quick intros. Terry, will you kick us off?
Hello, I'm Terry Young.
Hi, I'm Melanie Trementazzi.
Hi, I'm Lynn Estebar.
Hi, I'm Laval Ezel.
Hi y'all, I'm Tiffany Jo Baker.
Hello, I'm Sheila Walls.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Dunbar.
See what I'm telling you? Like all-star lineup here, right? So I'm so glad they're here with me because what they have to say is important and we're just ready to dive in. So I am sure that you are like me and the last couple of years you have probably felt really isolated. And friends, we know that we were not created to do life alone. We were created and built for community. And I have a real heart for wanting people to embrace each other. I believe that when we embrace our differences and we serve each other, we can find unity and community. We just make stronger teams that way. But the question is, how? Like, how do we start? And so I'm going to throw this really hard question to my friend Tiffany. Can you kick us off? Tiffany, where do we begin finding unity and community?
Well, Jennifer, I think I speak from a lot of the ladies here, if not all of us, because I know a lot of our hearts here, to just say thank you, because I think the first step is having conversations like these in a safe place. And I don't know about y'all, but I know for me, occasionally when I see something posted on social media or somebody says something, I don't respond because I see that some words that are spoken are taken out of context. So having a safe space where I know that fellow women understand my heart, even though I might not say what's PC, because I might not know what's PC in the moment.
Right.
But I think having safe conversations in a safe place to build community, and that's what we're doing here. So thank you for starting the conversation.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. This is, again, like I said, just really important to my heart. And so when we begin having these safe conversations with people, what do we talk about? What should we bring up? What is safe? Terry, what do you think?
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of like the opposite. I feel like instead of just having the safe conversations, you kind of need to dig a little deeper. And so how I kind of take off the Band-Aid and really dig deep and say, okay, what's really going on? And maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, and maybe you're misunderstanding what we're saying, and how do we find that common ground?
Absolutely. And so one of the things that I've also talked about and really supported is serving with local nonprofits. I'm really big on, hey, these nonprofits are here to support people and help people. And I personally think if people knew more about them, they would get involved. But, correct me if I'm wrong. Who wants to take this one? How do we get people to get involved in their local nonprofits?
I would say the biggest thing for me is getting outside of myself and serving, because a lot of the times when I feel isolated or like I'm not connected with people, I need to do the opposite of what I'm feeling. And the best way to do that is to get outside of myself and to be of service to others. And it's when I step outside of my thoughts, my head, my space, what's going on up here, and get into a community and step outside of my comfort zone with a nonprofit or with serving someone else or doing something for someone else. That's when I feel like real connection begins.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good point. And I feel like so many people feel like they have to be in a good space to be able to help other people. And I think y'all would agree with me. No, like it's just start today. Right? Okay, Sheila, I see your thinking there. What are your thoughts about this right now?
Well, you know what? My immediate thought was, it's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
And that's a reason why we need community. And you talked about the safe place. And part of having that safe place and just positioning people to feel comfortable, right, is knowing that it's okay not to be okay.
Yes, and I want to address you watching right now. If you feel broken or isolated, you are not alone. And we are here to build community, and it takes being brave, I think, to really step outside of yourself and say, I'm not okay. I'm not going to put picture perfect out there for social media because that's not anybody's life. And so I think it's, you're really brave when you can step out and just start something today. So what are some ways that we can get involved in our community if, say, we don't know the right nonprofit to serve at? Do you think it starts with like our passions? Do you think it starts with like our needs? Laval, can you help us out here with this one. Where do people start?
Where do people start? I want to say you just kind of start with the people that you know, getting to know what are their pain points. So it kind of starts the conversation of what's going on in your life. And when you start to connect with people and you say, and you actually get to see the inside of the issues that may lie in their life. And if you know that this person is not the only one that's suffering in this area, so you can actually serve in your community because now you have a one-on-one experience with that person, so it's actually closer to your heart and you understand what needs to actually happen in bringing people together. So it's getting to know people more on a personal basis, which can be a little uncomfortable, but it is something that you take it one step at a time. Even for me, just getting to know my neighbors and trying to connect with them in some type of way, even if it's at the holidays, it's an open door to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, even if I don't know the inside of your life, what's going on.
Yes, that's so good. So I try to bake things. I try to bake things and take them to my neighbors around the holidays, because I don't know about y'all's neighborhoods, but you can get so I'm driving in and out of my garage, I'm in and out, and I don't commune with the people around me, but I try to bake and take, and my thoughts have blocked me sometimes because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a COVID year, like what if they throw away my food because I baked it in my kitchen, and so I think that's really important. Start with the people around you. What are some things that you've done that you've seen work in your communities to build community? Anybody?
Sure, I'll speak to that. So we're talking about nonprofits, and I am very passionate about a particular organization in downtown McKinney that collects food and serves its people. And so what I did is I actually just did a food drive within my own community, my neighborhood. But it was really awesome because I drew such reaction from so many people, and it was really a conversation opener. So it wasn't just about let's deliver this many bags of food. It really became such a unique conversation piece and allowed me to talk with all these different people, and they had so many stories to share and would also share with me the organizations that they're involved in. So I learned a lot just through that one little thing.
Yeah, and I think you'd probably agree with me, Millie. I think when you serve others, there's just something in your heart that switches, and then it's like you want to do this more. I remember taking my oldest Zoe when she was 3 or 4 years old, and we made cards at home, and then we took them to our local nursing home. And I remember her little face going, Mommy, this feels good. I like this. I mean, you just know that you're doing what you're supposed to do when you're serving other people. So let's flip that to talking about our children and our kids and this generation. How do we show them to embrace others? That's a tough one. Who wants to take that one? How do we show our children it's okay to reach across the playground to the kid that looks different than you and hang out with them? How do we do that?
I think you said the key word, you show them.
Yes.
With kids, I'm learning, because I have 3 teenagers, and I can tell them a lot of things. But the telling doesn't really work as much as me showing them. So take your kid with you and, serve in a community or with a nonprofit that caters to different individuals. And as they see you serving and you're showing them how to interact with different kinds of people, then it opens their heart. So you're teaching them without actually saying, this is what I'm doing.
Yes, I love that. So good. And, I found myself in this pattern of doing the Flight of the Bumblebee, cleaning my house if someone was coming over. So anytime I'm cleaning, my kids are like, who's coming over? Oh no. And so I just want to recognize that, I've learned for myself, you don't have to be perfect. Your house doesn't have to be perfect. Just be willing and be open, right? Okay, so, what advice do you guys have? Maybe Len, you can take this one. What advice do you have for someone maybe watching right now that feels isolated and alone and just needs community? Do they retreat? What do they do to feel that connection in their community?
I think it's very tempting to retreat. I've been there many times, but I know that's where the enemy wants me to be. And so I encourage anyone who feels that way to reach out. That's like the hardest thing to do. But there are a lot of people in our lives who want to be of service to us, want to help us, and it feels good to them to be a blessing. So I try to remember, okay, don't rob this blessing from somebody
Yes,
else.
such a good point is be okay with letting somebody tell you, you know, what you need or serve you or be okay, because we are always back and forth. We're always in different seasons, right? Where sometimes we're down and we need some help, and other times we can be the helper. So, okay, how do we measure that we're making progress, that we're building unity and community? I mean, it's such a huge topic and something that is intangible. So how do we put metrics on it? How do we go, okay, we're building community here? This is probably the toughest question. Who's our brave soldier for this one? Anybody?
I
Thoughts?
would say, I would say, you know, we are learning how to connect with new people. And as we do that, we may befriend one person. And a lot of times cliques will develop from that. And so you have to be a person to say, if I'm going to be a friend to her, I'm going to have conversations with her that we're going to include someone else, right? You know, it's just not exclusively our friendship. And so if both parties have that idea, it'll allow other people to come in. And so you have that conversation where we're all bringing people together so that we can create a community.
Yes.
It's so that someone doesn't feel isolated.
Right. I think there's something in us that feels really good when we have like the BFF and we just know we're not going to be left out. But then someone always is left out, and you don't want to be that person, and you don't want to see other people. I think that that's a really good point to make is, you know, we can look at our own lives. How are we embracing others? How are we showing our children that we're embracing others? That's really good. Okay, so looking at ourselves then, like we just talked about, how does embracing ourselves and who we are called to be and who we are created to be, how does that play into unity and community?
Well, I think like even using my faith as an example, you know, the Bible says love your neighbor as yourself. And so it really does begin with us loving ourselves, and like you said, Sheila, that it's okay not to be okay. You know, because if I'm loving myself and be like, you know what, I don't have it all together, and that's okay. And I see somebody else and they look like it have it all together, but in my mind, like, you know what, they probably don't have it all together either. We can be friends. But if I'm unhealthy or don't feel good about myself and I see somebody that looks like they've got it together, right then I'm putting that wall up and saying, we can't be friends because I don't have it together and it looks like she does.
Yes.
So it really does start with loving ourselves so we can love others well.
Yes, and I think I've learned for myself that assumption is the killer of so many things, so many good things. I will walk into a room, I've learned, so this is old me, would walk into a room of women and look at their faces and be like, they don't like me, so I'm just going to go sit over here and find the dessert bar. You know, and so I think that when we assume people don't like us, or we assume that, you know, maybe somebody's just having a bad day. I mean, that happens. I have bad days. So when we assume, it always hurts us of those opportunities. So I just, you know, I think we should be more open to that and just always assume the best. Just start there.
And sometimes I just think, like, what would I tell my kids in that situation? If they had a bad day, if someone rubbed them wrong, if they had this encounter, I would say that. Maybe they had a bad day. But I often don't listen to my own advice. So that's one of the filters that I use sometimes is, what would I tell my kids in this situation?
Yeah, definitely. So as we kind of wrap up here tonight, I'm going to ask you to do something a little brave. I know, surprise! I would like you guys to just kind of popcorn, take turns, look at the camera, and just tell people, you know, how do they find unity and community? If you could give someone one piece of advice about not feeling isolated, feeling connected to other people, just a brief, you know, word of encouragement for people. If y'all would be so kind to do that, that would be amazing. So,
Yes,
Stephanie.
I would say be transparent and just be real and raw, because I think one of the things that we've heard tonight is you can look at other people and think that they have it all together, when inside they could be broken, they could be hurting, but they feel like they have to look like they're holding it all together because no one will, you know, no one really lets down that wall and says, hey, I'm struggling. So I think transparency is key to begin connection with people.
Absolutely.
And I guess I would add to that, no more comparisons.
Yes.
Because how many times as women we compare ourselves usually inaccurately. So don't compare yourself to someone who you think is great.
Right.
Because my guess is that as great as they are, they're struggling too.
Yeah.
And so just bring your whole self. We talk a lot about being your genuine self.
Yes.
Bring your whole self, and when you do that, you'll find that you empower other people to do the same, and that's when real connections happen, which will help address isolation, loneliness, all kinds of things. So stop comparing and just be you.
Yes. Amen.
I would say when you look at the definitions of unity and community, it's something that people have in common, that are together, same attitudes, beliefs, interests, goals. So I'd say when you walk into a room, even if it's a Zoom meeting, y'all, look for what you have in common and focus on the commonalities instead of what is dividing, instead of what is different. And that's truly what brings unity and community.
Yes.
Well, what I will say, keep it simple. As simple as when you go to the grocery store and you see someone and something in your heart says, you know what, I'm going to give them a smile. I want to say hello. I want to give a kind gesture or a compliment. It's really just that simple, and we make it really, really hard. And so just those small things, if you continue to do those things, it will allow you to open up your mind and your heart to create a community. And you'll never know. You might be invited somewhere where you need to connect with other people. Even you can be the one that says, hey, I'm going to have an event and I want to invite just women to say, hey, come out and have fun. And so you could be that person that starts that community as well. So keep that in mind, that you can be the one. If you're feeling like you don't have a community, then you start a community.
Yes. Show up. That's good.
What I feel has really impacted my life in the most amazing way is getting involved in a local church, and not just that, but also serving. There's just something really magical that happens when you just start serving and getting connected with other people, not even just women or men our own age, but in all these different areas within the church, like with children, with students and young adults. There's so many places that need help.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I think I would say just be kind. I think so often just a kind word. You mentioned a smile. I once heard a quote that said, to the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. And that has always stuck with me, that you just never know what your smile or your kind word could actually do for someone. And I think that can make a huge difference.
Yes, for sure.
I would say acknowledge who you are and where you currently are. Once you acknowledge those things, then you can move with intention. And intention is everything. So then you can find the correct community that you're looking for, or you can start the correct community for yourself as well as other people around you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, see, amazing all-star lineup here, right? I mean, just amazing women. I want to thank you all for being a part of these important conversations and your contributions tonight. And friend, I want you to know you're not alone. If you are feeling isolated, please reach out, because there is a community for you. You were born on purpose for a purpose. There is nobody in the world like you, and the world needs your greatness. So go out there, embrace others that are different than you, because we make strong teams when we do. And serve and help those nonprofits, and then lead the way for the generations behind you. Again, I'm Jennifer Daly, Mrs. Texas International, and I'm so glad you joined us tonight. Thank you.